So I wanted to come on and just respond to some things that have been happening in the news. And first and foremost, I just want to say that our hearts, prayers, condolences go out to the people of Dallas and to the officers and the families of those officers who lost their lives last night in a senseless, despicable act by people who claim to have been acting alone, but I'm not so sure about that. And neither is anybody else. And I guess as time goes on, we will find out more about that. But I wanted to say, I'm so sick and tired of there being an incident with a white cop, black person, and most people getting on and just condemning the police department before they know the facts. Even a black female police officer, in a lot of respects, came on and talked about how she was tired of it and how she didn't like seeing it and all that before even before any of the facts were out there. And she, of all people, should know better than to do such things as that. And I've seen some other people on Facebook and on Twitter, two black females in particular, coming out and talking, condemning what happened with the two black men, and then going on and talking about, what we need to do about it. We have to be so careful about how we word things and what we say. We have no idea. I mean, while it may look bad about what happened with the black men, one in Minnesota and one I don't recall right now where that one happened, the one in the car with the video. It was a horrible video to watch. We don't know the facts. We simply don't. And we haven't had any time to look at those facts. And we can't, here's the thing that really bothers me the most. We can't assume just because there is a shooting of a white cop, black man, or black woman, that it's racism involved. I think somehow we need to get over that. We really do. Because, number one, it could have been in self-defense. Number two, maybe the cop is just a bad cop. Number three, maybe the black person involved, maybe they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing, some criminal act, reaching for a gun or whatever the case may be. And I'm not talking about any specifics. I don't know, again, the specifics of the two cases, and I'm not talking about anything that has to pertain to them, because I'm going to wait and hear the facts. And then if that is true, if the cops did something wrong in those two cases, then they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And they will be. There have been cops in the past who did things, and they were prosecuted. And we have to, again, wait and see what's going on before we always just jump to conclusion. And I find it, each and every time, the first thing out of people's mouths, it's racism. Just because you have two people involved that have different skin color doesn't mean racism was involved. I think somehow we need to get this message across to people that not everything in this world involves racism. Not everything is about a racist. It's about human beings, some that make mistakes, some that intentionally do what they do, and on and on. It doesn't necessarily involve racism. But because of groups like Black Lives Matter, because of the president coming out and talking about statistics that, all black people have bad things happen against them and all white people don't. I mean, basically that's what he said. It's because of things like that that we have the problems that we're having right now. People jumping to conclusions and believing that people are out, all white people or all white cops are out to get black people, which is an absolute lie. But we buy into it because that's what we're being told. And then we have people, a black woman came on yesterday and said, I want to sit down, and have that honest talk. We need to have that honest talk. And I invited her. Okay, contact me. Let's have that honest talk. If you've listened to my shows, you know that I've had people on, like Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. We had an honest talk. There was no holding back. There was no, oh, I can't say that because it's PC. So I invited her. Contact me by email. Let's have that honest talk. I'm ready, willing, and able to have that honest talk. But I haven't been contacted yet. And I'm not holding my breath. You know, I think that we need to start looking at what's happening and where we're being pulled, in the direction we're being pulled in. There's an agenda. And nobody seemingly wants to believe that. You know, it's, oh no, the agenda is white cops hate black people and they kill them. No, that's not true. Progressives want you to believe that is true. And they want chaos to ensue, because when you have chaos, the people that are currently in power, whoever they may be, whether it's the administration or on down the road, on down the line, whoever thinks that, perhaps groups like Black Lives Matter or other people like that, the only way that they can stay in power is to keep us divided. They've done this for generations. They really have. This is the way to stay in power themselves and to reap the benefits. I mean, they get money. They get paid. You know, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, they make money off of people's misery and pain. And they keep us divided because it benefits them and they stay in control. And if people don't wake up and start seeing that, then we are truly lost. And then I've heard people come out and say, well, people, you know, you're not listening. You really need to listen on both sides. We need but you need to listen to us. Okay. But here's the problem that I see that's happening. People who say that, you need to listen to us, typically are not happy unless you agree with them. And I'm not going to agree with Black Lives Matter or those people who like to advance the agenda that all black people are hated and white people are killing them. I'm not going to agree with that ever. I can listen to you all day long. And I know that you have fears and you have concerns. So do white people, so do Asian people, so do Hispanic people. You're not alone in that. Yes, you have a different background and a different experience. Your ancestors do, especially. But that doesn't mean that we haven't moved beyond that. Or it doesn't mean that people are going to go, oh yeah, we were bad because our ancestors owned slaves of your ancestors. I mean, people believe that they have nothing to do with that. They don't condone it. They never have. They don't think it's a good thing. And yet, I don't think people who have that kind of ideology who are African American, they're not going to be happy until you say, oh, you're right, I'm guilty and I'm responsible. But that's not the truth. And there are many people who are not going to say that. So I don't know how we get beyond that, but one way is we drop the hate. You can't have any type of reconciliation as long as you hate somebody because of their skin color. It won't happen. But you can sit and you can have empathy and people can sympathize with you. And you can move forward that way if you're willing to do that. A lot of people just aren't willing to do that. So we have to figure out how, in the meantime, that it's not justifiable to take an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Because that's what happened in Dallas. That's exactly what happened. Somebody decided that the black men were killed by the white cops in those two recent events, that they deserve to, they deserve to die, but if we can't get them, then we're going to go out and get other white cops. I mean, that's exactly what happened. And that makes absolutely no sense. Now, am I blaming Black Lives Matter? Am I blaming black people for what happened in Dallas? No, no more than I would blame those people that killed the two black men without knowing any of the facts. I don't know any of the facts. I don't know if it was justified. All I know is last night it wasn't justified. But those murders last night were done by individuals. Those are the people that I blame. I don't blame a race for what some individual did. I never have. And I'm seeing the same thing played out again because this happened in the civil rights era that I lived through. This is how hatred gets started. This is how people like Black Power back then got everybody upset and wanted them to go out and kill white people because they didn't like white people. And they thought that white people were the cause of all of their problems. There's got to be some personal responsibility somewhere along the line. But I'll tell you, what really irks me, people like when Obama comes out yesterday and basically, this is before the shootings in Dallas, and the things that he said really, I'm sure, angered a lot of people. I don't know if it angered the guy who went out and the people responsible went out and later did something in Dallas. I don't know if that was, it incited them in some way. I don't think the administration, Obama, or anybody else is responsible for somebody else's behaviors. But I do think that you can make people angry, and they are responsible for their own anger and how they release that anger. But I think we have to be careful in how what we say. And especially, Obama, again, saying things when he has no proof, just like before. Oh, the police acted stupidly, when it turns out he had to eat his words because it wasn't true. And we have to be careful and wait until we get the facts before we start blaming people and spewing our obvious bias that we have. And the governor of Minnesota coming out and saying, well, that man the driver would have been still alive if he were a white man. How dare you say things like that when you have no proof of that? Now, if it turns out to be the case that the officer was wrong, it still doesn't mean the officer was racist. It means the officer was wrong. Until we show facts, if there are any, that show he's wrong and that he is a racist, then he simply was just wrong. But we have no facts now. We don't know if the officer was right or wrong. If you recall, the video was turned on after he was shot. We don't know what happened before. I want to wait to hear the facts, all sides. And it's not because, oh, I'm a white person and so it was a black guy that died and so it doesn't matter to me. No, a human being died. It matters to me. If you think otherwise because of the color of my skin, that makes you potentially a racist. And I want to know, a white guy was killed by white cops in Fresno, California recently. I haven't heard anything on the news. I don't see any protesters out about that. And the statistics show that more white people than black people are killed. So we have to get over this idea again that all white cops are out to kill black people. You are buying in to the lie that you've been fed. And once again, that lie is to keep you under the control of those people who want to be in power. And I know that I'm talking to the majority of black people, white people, Asian, and Hispanic, who absolutely do not condone what happened last night and don't feel the way that those people who killed those people in Dallas feel. And I know that. And it's unfortunate because you, like me and everybody else, is going to be lumped in a group just because of our skin color. We've been taught, oh, you can't say I don't see skin color. Well, I mean, I see skin color, but it doesn't matter to me. I mean, honestly, you're a human being. That's what I see first. I do see your skin color, okay, but I see and recognize that you are a human being, and that's what matters to me. And it matters to me how you treat me personally and how you treat other people personally. I don't look at you and condemn you because you are of a certain race. And I think that people are going to need to get back and start feeling that way and start looking at people like that. We are God's children. We are all God's children. We are all equal. And you see, nobody's come out and said that, right? You don't have anybody on the progressive agenda who's willing to say that, because you know why? That doesn't fit their agenda. That doesn't advance their plan for you and I. And it doesn't continue to keep them in control and power over everything that's going on. The progressives right now are working towards getting martial law. It's what it looks like, because they're loving this chaos. We have to stop the chaos. We have to know that our brothers and sisters out there who are of a different color than we are feel the same way that we do. And they're not like those people that are involved in killing the cops in Dallas last night. And again, I don't know about those people and what happened recently with the 2 black men. I'm waiting to hear the facts. And then if it comes out that those police officers were wrong, then they need to have full power of the law to prosecute them. Just like I would say that for anybody else, regardless of their color. It's a human issue. You know, in the coming weeks, days, months, whatever, we have got to learn to work together. We can't all agree, and we're not all going to agree. It would be nice if everybody said, you know what, let's just move on from here. But you and I both know that's not the way it's going to be. And you can't erase what happened during Jim Crow and slavery to make everything okay. And again, you know, we see with the white privilege and all that, people want somebody to pay. And guess what? You know, people are not going to lay down and pay. People are sorry for what happened during slavery and Jim Crow. It was horrible. There's no words to describe it. But it doesn't mean that because a person is not of the same skin color as the African American slave, it doesn't mean that they don't care, and it doesn't mean that they're going to want to be held responsible for something they did not do. Just like you can't hold Obama and the governor of Minnesota responsible for the behaviors that came out of those people that killed the cops in Dallas. You can't hold white people responsible for the behaviors of their ancestors. Nor would I hold anybody else responsible, regardless of their skin color, of what their ancestors did. That makes absolutely no sense. And somehow people have to come to grips with that and start moving beyond that. Please, people, please, spend more time on your knees praying than you are doing anything else. Take your anger to God and say, God, help me with my anger so that I can see people as your children rather than being so judgmental about things that I don't even have facts for. And help us move beyond the hurt and the hate. We're already a society that's bringing ourselves down, and we're going to further do that if we don't get it together. Please pray for those families in Dallas that are mourning today because they lost 5 of their loved ones. And I understand that there is a place that you can donate, mercury1.org, Mercury, and that's ONE.org. There is a whole section set up that you can donate and give money for those left behind, of the police officers' relatives that were left behind, to give them money for funeral expenses and anything else that they may need. And if you feel that's something that you can donate to, please do, so that people will know that you care, because I know that you care. You know that you care. As a whole, we care. We're looking at fringe people in every group that likes to come out and start trouble, and they like to come out and keep in control. Don't be fooled. Don't let them do that. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your neighbor. It is the commandments of God for us to do so. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. So remember that as you go forward. Don't buy in to the destruction. Don't buy in to the fact that people don't love one another, because that's just not true. Reach out to people. Empathize with them. Love them. Until next time, this is Susan Knowles. Take care of yourself, and God bless you.